Hello, people. Welcome to my YouTube channel. I am Palak and I am a psychotherapist who helps you heal your trauma. All right, so I am coming, not live, I am recording this YouTube video after a long time. And I have a very interesting topic because recently I have been getting a lot of questions like this from my audience on the Instagram that do they need trauma therapy? So let me first break it down to you and actually explain you what trolley trauma work is, okay? So in order to understand what trolley trauma work is, let's first understand what is trauma. So, when we really talk about trauma, and sometimes when we are having a conversation about it, we do believe that, oh, trauma is something which is very major event in our life. That's actually not true. Trauma simply means anything which have contributed to discomfort in your life and anything which have hampered the safety of your nervous system. So these are the two things which clearly defines the trauma. Anything which have made you uncomfortable in your life or anything which hampered the safety of your nervous system. So to simplify or to give an example for you to understand in a better way, trauma can also be something that, you were one when you were a child and you had this competition happening in your school and you were supposed to talk or supposed to kind of like what you do, probably it was a poetry competition and you were supposed to recite a poem standing on a stage. And once you actually stepped onto the stage, you saw that there are too many people, there are too many kids, too many teachers, and they are talking and there is noises and everything, and you suddenly got really nervous about it. And then probably the students or the kids started laughing. This can also mean a trauma in which there could be a fear of actually talking in front of a crowd, or actually it can lead to a voice trauma which get like stuck in your throat, and you usually face difficulty in voicing out your opinions. This could also be trauma. But then at the same time, sometimes trauma is also you being given certain identities that you are not comfortable with. For example, if you are I'll be very honest here. In the school, we usually had identities, how teachers used to give us identities saying, oh, this is above average student, this one is a topper, this one is a below average student. You already had an identity to it. So, below average can also lead to a trauma. Having the identity of, oh, she's an overachiever or she's a topper can also lead to a trauma because we might get very hard on ourselves and we might not be able to deal with the failure. So even getting into a certain identities can also lead to trauma. So anything which makes you uncomfortable or anything which have hampered the safety of your nervous system can mean trauma. So when people ask me, or when you are in this confusion or into thoughts that whether you need a trauma therapy or not, I do believe that everyone needs a trauma therapy. The reason is very simple. Therapy is not about you coming out of something that you are stuck in, but therapy in today's world is also needed if you want to grow in your life, because the reason behind that is very simple. We live in the highly stimulating environment. We are consuming too much of data on day to day basis. We are you know at the place where we scroll through the reels, we watch too many YouTube videos, we meet too many people, and everyone have their own stories, everyone have their own opinions, and we are exposed to the opinions, to the stories, and to the life of too many people. So we get exposed in that way to too many negative circumstances in our lives also, which results in the overstimulation of our nervous system, and our brain completely goes out of control. So we have too many thoughts, we have too much of anxiety about everything. And that's where the therapy plays the part, especially in this world, in this present circumstances. So when we talk about the trauma therapy, how it is different than the normal talk therapy, simply because trauma therapy will work on the root causes of everything which is happening in your life, which could be, okay, you not being able to succeed in your career, you not being able to have the ideal relationship, you like continuously attract the similar kind of patterns in your life, or third thing, also to increase and to develop the nervous system safety. If the world is unsafe, and by unsafe, I'm not going to the extreme circumstances. I am talking about if the world is highly stimulating and that's little triggering to your nervous system, we need to develop the safety within us, because we will meet a lot of people in life and not everyone can give you that energy of safety. There would be some people who would actually trigger you. So at that point of time, how to internalize everything and to feel safe. So in short, trauma work is actually important to be a complete human, I would say, or to actually have all the tools to thrive and to succeed in today's environment, in the space, in the world that we are living in. Coming to this point, like explaining it further, there can be a lot of ways of trauma therapy. When we say trauma therapy, inner child trauma work is a part of it. Somatics is a part of it. Then regression work is a part of it. So we actually have a lot of options when we talk about the trauma work. The simple way actually is to understand the root causes of the problem and to actually be able to give you the solution. The best, like the most advantageous thing when it comes to trauma therapy is that it actually has the capacity to completely change your present circumstances. For example, we'll take an hypothetical example of X person, okay? And this X person comes to me and say that, you know what, that they have not been able to manifest a proper relationship in their life, and they try a lot, they do a lot, they give a lot, but then somehow the pattern repeats itself, and they're not able to actually have a person in their life who really commits to them. Navigating further, I got to know that for this ex person, that her father was always uh, non-committed to her mother. So that clearly gives us a kind of a flashback to her life, to her nervous system, that she has the identity of a man in her mind, in her subconscious brain, that of non-committed person. So man equals to non-committed person. So that's why she keep on repeating that story. Why? Because her body feels home to this. This is very familiar. So whatever is familiar feels home. So body will keep on manifesting it. In order to actually heal this pattern, we need to target the subconscious beliefs also. We need to target the trauma which is stored in body also. And at the third place, we need to target her identity also, that she does not have to live her mother's stories, which is a part of ancestral trauma. So it goes three way. That's why when we talk about the trauma work, we are actually talking about it in a way that we can change the life 360-degree. We can become a completely different person if we want. And we actually get tools in our life to expand our nervous system to the point that we can literally manifest a lot of money, happy relationship, whatever you desire in your life, because we are taking one thing in our control, and that one thing is our thoughts and emotions. And when we talk about the Kali Yuga, when we also talk about this in a very spiritual sense, if you have your conscious in your control, if you have your thoughts in your control, you have kind of gotten the access to the magic that your soul is made of. So that's where the trauma work actually ends. Like, I don't know about other people, but that's how it ends when I work with someone, that we shift your identity to that point, that we do the work to that point, that you're completely transformed, and you have the access to your consciousness, you have the access to the magic that your soul holds. Because trust me when I say this, the molecules, the atoms via which your soul is made of, is exactly the same atoms and molecules via which this whole universe is made of. So it's not that you're not powerful, but your own thoughts, your identities, the trauma of the past, the trauma of your parents, what was told to you when you were a child by your teacher, or the identity that you carried in your home, is actually stopping you to really become what you can become. So that's what the trauma work is in the simplest of the language. If there are any doubts, comment down below. I'll be happy to answer you. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel and follow me on Instagram. I go by the name Aligners. I'll attach the link in the bio. And see you in the next video. Take care, guys. Bye bye.